deeply to lower the tone. I fucking love you months. January and February happily together, March and April on their own, and the smaller ones May, June and obvious July. August is very rare. We have to ask what happened to August in September, and delicately. October there is nothing to be said for, which like all fashions changes. Months can be used to remember, like November, November, I fucking love you sonnets. Look at my library, it's in Latin. I made it of flowers to hold up the structure. O reclinata, unlike Goldilocks, I never was the same again who's been sleeping in my library. I made it of wattle and daub. Look at my anthologies. There's Frank Commode, the pervert. There goes my library. Oh, reticulata. I draw cocks in books. Frank Commode's cock, obviously it was smaller than the pantry. No one listens to Petrarch. He's an A+ ultra and stabbed me in the first leg. As we struggled to keep the ship from sinking, he stabbed me in the return leg. More boldly, he has gone and stabbed me in the Assarts. I have left the Enterprise for good. Now I'm the captain of your ship. Now I'm rear admiral. My legs in the ocean, or else they would be dry. No one listens to Petrarch. People are rowing away from other people, every oar crying, I want to touch you, but I can't. Not you again, Jeremy Irons. Look at my lady swimming through the awkwardly contrived opening. The British actor Jeremy Irons is trying on her false hair. I'm the French lieutenant's woman. No, I'm the French lieutenant's woman. No, I'm the French lieutenant's woman, etc., etc. I don't know how many times I curtsied. He's not even the fucking king. Love died between me and the army. In her long, loose sleeves, he drowned, displaying all the elegance of sound. I wish I folded like everyone else in H&E. I wasted my time levant and couchant like the sunshine in H&E. Here's a song about the sunshine. It did not reach everywhere, the movement. My life as a beginner in the full sun, making a new way, champion and me, through the complex true history of the Assarts. When I awoke, I was unfolded like Sylvia in May, a simple surface only, shiny, shiny. And a new piece which is coming out as a big square A1 poster. You can't have a square A1 poster, but anyway, it's going to be something like that from Crater Press. And it's called A Ritual Poem Against the Sea. The problem is, I am besieged by galleons. Naturally, nobody welcomes them, the galleons, which interfere with normal life. The attack submarine too is difficult to ignore. Often I go to great lengths to avoid it. The hospital ship I invariably return to, like the Gundelau, it is arranged just right, unlike the trimaran, which is senseless and irrational. Repeatedly I check the hydrogen tanker. The problem is I'm besieged by it, touching it like the ferry, though the ferry and the galleon are not related. Washing the ferry again and again, the armed yacht is difficult to ignore. Invariably I return to the floating restaurant, rereading the menu. Nobody welcomes it, the floating restaurant, rereading the menu until it is clean like a terrible, terrible paddle steamer. Basically, the ocean liner is no good, and I am besieged by it. Touching the banisters on its staircases, invariably I return to the banisters and the door handles. The men of war, too, are difficult to ignore. Shaking hands with them does not mean they are not men of war. Unlike the icebreaker, which is just right. Unlike the patrol boat, which is just right. Unlike the bulk carrier, which is just right. Nobody welcomes the men of war, which are not inherently enjoyable. The problem is I'm besieged by them, counting them and saying their names out loud like Beauchamp Duff or Clive of India and shaking hands. The problem is I am late for work on the clipper ship, which also is contaminated. Washing the ferry again and again, invariably I return to it. Turning the lights of the lake freighter on and off. Invariably I return to the battle cruiser, which is difficult to ignore. Think about the battle cruisers you have been on. Clearing your throat on HMS Invincible. Clearing your throat on HMS Indomitable. Clearing your throat on HMS Inflexible. The problem is I am besieged by them. Naturally, nobody welcomes the East Indiaman, which is easier to face than the Cromer Stephen. Invariably, I am careless on the Clyde Puffer as I am careless on the Durham boat. Trying not to think about them, nor the hermaphrodite brig. Men and women equally leaving the windows open and going to great lengths to avoid the telephones which interferes with normal life. Showering repeatedly on boarding the Barker Longer. Going up and down the gangway of the very large ore carrier over and leaving the doors open. This is difficult to ignore, like the minesweeper. Naturally, nobody welcomes the minesweeper, which cannot be stopped. Touching it at work or at university, the problem is I am besieged by it. Invariably returning to the flotel whenever possible. Invariably returning to the flotel for complete recovery. The flotel, which is difficult to ignore, unlike the showboat, which is perfectly safe, though deep down I want the flotel to pull away. Repeatedly I check it. Repeatedly I check the hydrogen tanker, which is gradually worsening. Naturally, I neither want nor welcome the mothership. Like the clipper ship, it is contaminated and I am besieged by it. Often going to extreme lengths to block it, like the starship, which is senseless and irrational, like walking the plank on the pirate ship, time after time, which invariably interferes with normal life. The problem is the pirate ship is dirty, avoiding the pirates or arranging the pirates until they are just right, saying their names out loud like Calico Jack or Redlegs Greaves, or washing the pirate ship again and again until it is clean like the Incredible Hulk. Often for hours or days, this is the best way. Basically, the pirate ship is no good, like eating in the cafe of the unprotected cruiser, trying not to think about the ketch or the knar, trying not to think about the cough or the coke, especially the coke, going around and around the toilets on the survey vessel, going to great lengths to avoid the replenishment oiler, though the replenishment oiler and the survey vessel are not related, I am besieged by them. Always doing something sinful, always poisoning the food on the troop ship, which is difficult to ignore, though nobody welcomes the troop ship. Bathing with the troops and hugging them, or jumping in front of the troops with the aim of hurting them, I fear I may be labelled. Turning for help to the reefer is no use, nor to the junk which interferes with normal life. I can't even throw away my oar-powered pram. Invariably I return to it, moving it from place to place on the high seas where space is running out with the aircraft carrier on its way. Trying not to think about it, nor the approaching dreadnought. texting the captain to turn off the gas because I am the captain of the pram and I am not going ashore, even though the hydrogen tanker has gone right through me. Naturally, I made an emergency stop to brush my teeth. With a sweeping and rolling motion, first the upper teeth, then the lower teeth, paying extra attention to the water line and brushing my tongue too for fresher breath. I really got a feel for it. The hard-to-reach back teeth are easy to ignore, unlike the destroyer. Naturally, nobody welcomes it, nor the ghost ship emitting ghost light drifting towards the true horizon. The problem is I am besieged by it, and the missing lifeboats I invariably return to, gripping them tightly and with all my hands, washing them again and again. Thank you.
Richard, will you excuse me not saying too much about